Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen amma ba'du fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. Sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Achha, now we will start this first lesson here on introductory things, yeah. First lesson on Nahw. Now Arabic grammar. So introductory matters in this book. The first sabak it mentions that ilm al-Nahw is the knowledge of grammar. And the word Nahw, the literal meaning of it is a path, an edge, or it means a purpose, an irada, to wish to do something. Yeah? Technically, Nahw means that branch of knowledge which has such rules explained in it, by which a person is able to know about an ism, which is a noun, a fi'l, which is a verb, and also a harf, which is a particle. Yeah, these three. That the rules relating to the end of these three, the final letter of these three, and the changes which happen in the final letter of these. Yeah. So the rules relating to the change which happens in an ism, a noun, a fi'l, which is a verb, or a harf, which is a particle, right? So those rules relating to these three, relating to their last letter, yeah, whether it changes or whether it does not change, because sometimes you will notice it does change, and sometimes you will learn it does not change, yeah. And also, about these types of rules, okay. And then Nahw is also related to words and how words are joined with each other. You get it? To structure sentences, yeah? So that is the definition of the knowledge of Nahw, yeah? So three linguistic meanings, what were they? A path, an edge, or a purpose, yeah? A wish, desire. And what was the technical meaning? That the knowledge of Nahw, the knowledge of grammar, is that knowledge which discusses those rules relating to ism, a noun, fi'l, a verb, and harf, a particle, yeah, and the rules relating to the changes which happen in the end of these three, right? Or in some cases, no change happens at the end of these, yeah. And also, what else does it mention? The rules relating to joining words together, structuring sentences, yeah. Next, it mentions the mawdu' of ilm al-Nahw in the next heading. The mawdu' means the subject. What's the subject? What are you going to study in ilm al-Nahw? And he mentions here kalima and kalam. Kalima is a word and kalam is speech. Okay, so what do you study in Arabic grammar? Words and speech. Kalima and kalam. Kalima and kalam. Right? So these are discussed at the states of kalima and kalam. Right? Next, it mentions what is the definition of mawzu'. The definition of mawzu' is a subject, alright? It's what is studied. What does mawzu' mean? What is studied. For example, like in maths, the mawzu', the subject will be numbers, yeah? In medicine, it mentions here, it gives an example, the subject will be the human body, right? And in Arabic grammar, like we just mentioned here, in Nahw, what is the subject? Words and speech. Kalima and kalam. Do you understand? So that's the meaning of mawdu'. Next, the gharz. The gharz of ilm al-Nahw means the purpose of ilm al-Nahw. What is the purpose of knowledge of grammar? It is to write Arabic and to speak Arabic, and when doing so to be saved from making mistakes. Alright? It stops you from making mistakes whilst you're speaking Arabic and whilst you're writing Arabic. Okay? It prevents a person from mistakes. That's the purpose. Then we need to see some of the reasons why Nahw is called Nahw. Yeah, grammar. Number one, it mentions that one meaning of Nahw is tariqah, a way, right? Like a rasta, a path. Yeah? Because the mutakallim, the one who speaks, when he learns this branch of knowledge, he learns the tariqah of the Arabs, the way of the Arabs, the path of the Arabs. You understand?
Yes.
So that's why it's known as a path. Number one, yeah? Number two, the meaning of Nahw is also kinara, edge. Right? We mentioned that taraf, yeah? We also mentioned that before, yeah? The linguistic meanings of the word. Why is it also known as the edge? Because it discusses the edge, the final letter of certain words. It discusses the final letter, and the final letter is on the edge of a word. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like if sometimes in some words what happens, the end letter, there's going to be changes in it, and in some words they don't change.
Yeah.
But because that is involved in Nahw, it's also known as the edge, right? Number three, it mentions one meaning of Nahw is also irada, meaning purpose, a desire to do something. Why is an intention and purpose also mentioned in Nahw? Is because the person who first gathered the rules of Nahw, the person who first gathered all the rules of Nahw, of Arabic grammar, he used the word nahawtu, and nahawtu means I intend to do this. Yeah, so it shows intention, or I wish to do this, my purpose is to do this. So when he used the word nahawtu, from there we get the word Nahw. Okay, so the third meaning of the Nahw, the linguistic meaning, is to desire, to wish, or to have a purpose to do something. Yeah. The fourth one also mentioned here is one meaning of Nahw is also example, mithal. Like when you say example, for example. And why is it an example? Because when you learn Nahw, then your speech, your writing, your speaking will become an example of that of the Arabs. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's like an example as well. This is the fourth meaning also mentioned for Nahw. Okay? Because then your speech will be an example of the speech of the Arabs. How will you reach that status? By learning the knowledge of Nahw, of grammar. Right? Then it mentions ilm al-Nahw, the wadih. Right? The wadih, the founder of ilm al-Nahw, of knowledge of grammar, and it mentions it is Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He radiyallahu anhu, upon his order, Hazrat Abul Aswad rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, he compiled this science and gathered the rules and stuff, okay, upon the order of Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So these are the introductory matters of Nahw, and this is the first lesson.